Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you live around the world. Having just deleted a video, I thought I would make a new one, a replacement one, but touch on what I was deleting. I had a good idea, which it still is, but rather than transfer that good idea to the models, I thought I'd keep things more simple and then just make mental note of it, that when I go to do the process in the workshop, I can do it then and not show up in these drawings, because it just complicates things. And that's what I thought. Well, maybe there are things that I do in innocence that are going to be redundant, and that if anyone were to copy what I'm trying to achieve here, they too would be looking at it sideways and going, well, that's a waste of time. But often the waste of time only comes about in hindsight, and you have to go through the thought process at least to see whether it makes sense. So that's what I've done. I was going to make all the penetrations in the hubs with the top holes at an angle, and then as I said, I've rethought that and just kept them square to the surface and carried on from there. Now, each hub has their struts that are at a specific angle to it. They're not all the same for all struts, not on this design at least. And as such, we can see that being represented by these strange looking fan affairs, where here we've got a distance 7mm compared to, well, what's this one? I've forgotten. 3mm. And of course that means that they're at a different angle. So I created this guide so that I can use that as my parallel and the angle relative to the circumference of the hub itself. And that actually made life a lot easier, because I was able to take a model of the screw, insert it at this point here, lower it down to a specific point, and rotate it to the angle I want, and lower it to the angle position I want. And then I repeat that, I rotate it around, and I can angle it using this particular guide. And each, as you can see, each one of them has their own specific guide to get those angles. Now, it is really only for the benefit in the modelling, but it can reveal, and this is why I go into some of the stupid detail, but I go into it to see whether it pops up any unforeseen issues, so that when we come to, in fact, we'll pop over here, when we come to have an examination of this, we can see that the 140mm long screw in this case is kind of starting to get close to the lower assembly, this part of the pipe, but at the same time never hits it. So there is a proof at this extent that there is no chance or likelihood that we'll have an interference problem between two components. So that's why I like that. And of course, when we pop the strut itself on, it better exemplifies it, because you can actually kind of see what we're about. I also made a comment that these style of hubs are not really suited for the smaller domes. While it might be possible, maybe foregoing this, it's really not suited for the smaller domes. And the strut size that I'm using here, the smallest, is 90 by 45, which is a standard framing size timber. Whether you want to go that light, or if you think that's too heavy, well, that's dependent upon your requirements and your demands for the dome and the size of the dome, etc. But I had to start somewhere. I didn't want to go anything small. I could have gone 75 by 50. That kind of makes sense, but not for the size dome that I want to make. If it's 6 meters in diameter, some of the struts are going to be about 2.2, 2.3 meters long, and therefore you probably wouldn't want an unsupported or untriangulated 75 by 50 member as a strut. Anyway, it's not what we're about here. This, as I said, allowed me to create these guides so that I can better examine the project. And while it may look a bit odd, I've now replaced what I had been using, which was just a series of lines. Crikey, where are we? Have I kept them here? Yeah, some of these. Hang on. I should have prepared this earlier, shouldn't I? But there was a series of lines that I was using as a guide, these angled ones, that get lost in the model sometimes, and it was hard to actually get your head around what you were looking at. And I deliberately make my life hard for myself, don't I? But to replace those so it was more graphically pleasing, discernible, I made these. So now they really do stick out and give you more guidance, as it were, to what the heck you're doing. So yeah, that was just a shortish video on where I'm at. I have the hubs here, so you can see all the hubs in place, and they are the older version, one where they had the wire. Oops, the wire. Oh god, I hate it when I do that. Yes, the wire type frame for the angles, and this was the initial thought of how I was going to do it. I looked at it and I thought, well, that's stupid. So I can actually get rid of that because I didn't know I'd left it there, and I can actually get rid of those wire frames as well, the guides, because they are now redundant. How often do you do a project that you're having fun with? I'm quite enjoying this, frustrated at times, but enjoying. But how far do you go down a path before you realise it's a dead end, or it's not the destination you wanted, i.e. this, and then you realise, all that work I did before, to heck with it, it's too much work to redo it. Well, you've kind of got to exhaust those issues that are yet unforeseen. And I was having a conversation with a chap the other day, and he really annoyed me, and it was almost saying that because you haven't researched it, not this particular, but he's saying that there's no excuse for being ignorant of a issue because all that information is out there. And I'm going, well, I've got this little project called a geodesic dome, and while a lot of the information is out there, where is it? Because if you haven't got access to it, how can you change, or how can you become more educated? But there seemed to be this idea, well, because it's out there, it's your fault for not knowing. And I'm thinking, well, if I don't even know it's out there. And this was the point when I was talking about I was mentioning to him, I said, well, there's this book, I can't remember the name, Prentice, I think. He actually put that very, very authoritative book out back in the late 60s, early 70s, whenever it was, on geodesic dome design and construction, and for the charts and tables and what have you for creating a dome. And I was thinking, man, how did he do that with the knowledge that and lack of software back in the day? And it makes me think that what I'm doing here is a pale imitation of what he had done. And now with Paul Robinson bringing out his book, I'd love to see the detail in his book, because he goes into all the different dome types, as I understand it, and is very authoritative in that area. And I'm banging about just doing a single style of dome, which is kind of the point I was trying to make to my friend, that there is no information specific to this. So I'm actually, banging around in the dark, blind at times. And but no, the conversation didn't end well. But sometimes we are guessing, and I will still have to say that in the absence of knowledge, that's all I'm doing is guessing. And if I'm not saying anyone will, they will. They'll say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." I've already admitted that. But if you can't find the information, how else do you progress? Well, this is how I'm doing it, and as I said, I'm quite enjoying it. It's quite fulfilling in some ways, and it may be that it also in the video, I don't know whether that one I've left up, but I said at the end of the day, this might all be thrown out, and I decide to go a different route altogether. The one claim I'm making on my own behalf in this regard is this is scalable. So too most other systems, but there are points when they too will have their limitations and what have you. But this is scalable to quite a large, for a dome that would be quite large. And I do believe that there is quite some merit in this style, and others that have done a style very, very similar to this. And there's many, and I'm thinking it behooves me to actually continue this project until such point as I've either built it and exhausted all the issues, or resolved all the issues, or I've thrown the damn thing out. But at this stage, I'm quite content with where I'm heading, and I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And no, don't make any jokes about what that light is, but I can see this working. I'm still going down the route of using screws for the exercise, but it's a really good chance I will be using the tabbed versions. Well, big long, not for dramatic effect or anything, but there's a lot to be said for having the tabbed version. But this is easy, isn't it? Okay, that's it. Off and outside to do a little bit of work before dinner, and I will see you in the next video. Bye now.